Hello everybody, it's happy birthday to Mothers Unite. So nice that you're here to witness the birth of this conference. This talk was going to be about my journey in creating It Takes a Village, but I'm going to throw in some insights, what it was to create a Mothers Unite conference. So let's start with the village. I created It Takes a Village after experiencing what I call a traumatic miracle. The story, if you'd like to read it, was recently published on the Odette Baby magazine website, and it's also on my blog. And in short, it began with me in the depths of postnatal depression and witnessing the near drowning of my 2-year-old. Sounds like a pretty crap beginning to something great, but what it did was lift me from the depths of depression to the heights of gratitude. And feeling immensely grateful for all I have, I wanted to help others in my situation. Many mothers feel isolated, not just physically, but because they cut off pieces of who they were before becoming a mum to try and fit into a mould of perfect mum, which is an uncomfortable suit and bulges, and many of us end up busting out of the incredible Hulk. So I thought maybe local mums, like me, might like to get to know each other and support each other, and that doing so might make our community a better place to live. So I put the feelers out, and I got 150 mums join my group in 3 days. So I took this as a sign that there might be a need for the connection in the local mum community. So at first I tried to encourage all the mums to come together and meet each other and connect and love each other, which resulted in sounds of crickets, as no one really was into that. And so I then tried asking mums, well, what do you want? If you want, I'll put it on. And that didn't actually work either. So I stopped trying to please and meet what everybody else wanted, and decided, what do I want? At first that seemed like a pretty selfish way to run a community initiative, but actually it makes perfect sense, because I can't know what the women in my community want. I can only know what I need and want. I only know about my experience, and so the best thing was for me to put on get-togethers and events that I wanted to go to and see if anyone wanted to come along. And that seemed to work pretty well, and that's why I run clothing swaps and toy swaps and seminars on different topics, because it's what interests me. And I encourage the mums to do the same, put on events that they want to see and run events that they want to do. And from what I've found is when I say, honestly, I need clothes, I'm doing a clothes swap, mums are more likely to say what they need too. So I stopped trying to bring all the mums together and instead got to know mums on small groups or one-to-one level. And as I began to meet and chat with these other mums, I started to hear the same stories. They were similar to my feelings and thoughts and experiences too. We all seemed to have the same story. The stories were my stories, and probably your stories too. The stories about not feeling good enough, about being tired, of being overwhelmed, of being under financial strain, of dealing with anxiety and depression. And many of the mums I spoke to had a mix of these issues happening in their life. And as I listened to them, I got a strong sense of wanting to bring them together, not the stories, but the women, so that they could have their struggles acknowledged and receive meaningful help that could assist them through life, and maybe even help them to drop these stories and create new ones. Even into the concept of the Mothers Unite conference, and I sat on the idea for quite some time. And I already run an initiative, and I work full-time, and I have small children and a husband. I couldn't see how I could do a conference and work it in with all of that. There's someone lovingly gave me a gentle push. And so, never having created a conference from scratch before, I thought, why not? Being new to conference creating, I approached the task much like a woman approaches deciding to become a mum. It involves a lot of visioning and daydreaming about having a conference and all the wonders that would come with it. Some people tried to tell me it was going to be hard, but no. I had coordinated events before, so I felt I knew my response was much like a new mum who says, well, I'm an auntie, so I kind of know. Bringing the conference together was my pregnancy stage, and quite like a baby, this conference seemed to just create itself without much input from me. I asked people to speak, I found an amazing venue, and voila, conference made. I guess I had what some mothers might call a dream pregnancy. No reflux, no cramps, and no drooling in my seat. I was ready to launch, and I thought the hard part was done. Enter the labour part of creation. This is when the fun really begins. I launched the conference with a great rush of enthusiasm. I know many new mums are quite excited when labour begins, and that was me, excited and ready. There wasn't any registrations at first to cause me a few pains. Nothing I could handle without a bit of breathing. All is well, trust my intuition, just as a birthing mum might trust her body. Okay, 1 month to go, it's not looking good. The pain is no longer manageable. For all my effort and love of putting this together, I had 5 registrations. Enter the first meltdown feelings that I can't do it. Okay, 1 week to go, we're at 13 registration, but there's hope. My water has broken, and I have received word that there's going to be publicity. Yes, this is the final stretch home, and everything will now fall into place. Okay, 4 days to go, and despite the fantastic publicity, there's no further registrations, and no further relief to the pain of feeling like a failure, of being naive to think that I could do it, of feeling like mothers wanted this conference, but there was no cancelling labour. As mums know. So when I was sure I was going to quit, what happened was something quite amazing. I just did it. You know, that's what mums do. They are remarkable at just getting on with it, no matter how dire things are. That's my mother's strength, and your mother's strength. I was also surrounded by an amazing, supportive midwifery team who talked me through my most painful contractions, reminding me of my vision, my cause, and why I must carry on. So truth is, there were multiple times where I had my hand over a big red cancel button, and I'm so glad that I found the strength to persevere. So here I am now, holding my precious new baby, the Mothers Unite Conference, in its physical image, and it's a real honour for me to have you here and celebrate its birth. I hope you have an amazing day.